You know, when you get to the final chapters of the Bible, there's this incredible scene of the ultimate celebration. It's this huge cosmic wedding called the marriage of the Lamb. It's all about pure joy, right? But here's the thing. We always focus on the two main figures. But if you look a little closer at the text, it raises a really fascinating question. Who else is actually at this wedding?
So, this verse right here from Revelation really sets the stage for us. A massive wedding is about to go down. The bridegroom, that's the Lamb, is ready. And, this is key, his bride has also made herself ready. This is it. This is the moment all of heaven has been waiting for.
And this is where our central mystery really begins. It's so easy to just assume, hey, it's just these two, but the text actually hints that there are other distinct groups there. So who could they be? All right, let's dive in and figure this out.
Okay, our investigation is going to start with the very first clue. And it's not a person, it's not an object, it's a sound. A sound that's described right before the big announcement is even made.
Revelation 19 talks about this immense crowd, making a sound so powerful it's like a raging flood or a massive thunderstorm. I mean, we're not talking about a small gathering here. This is a huge, joyous crowd. And what they're shouting? Well, that's what gives us our first major clue.
Now listen really carefully to what they say. This massive crowd is shouting, "Let us rejoice and be glad." And why? Because the marriage of the Lamb has come and his bride has made herself ready. Did you catch that? The way they phrase it creates a clear separation. They're celebrating the bride's readiness, which really suggests they aren't the bride themselves.
So if this giant rejoicing crowd isn't the bride, then who in the world are they, and why is their celebration so important? Well, it turns out this isn't the only time a huge celebration breaks out in the book of Revelation. There's actually a pattern here.
Yeah, this lays out a really clear pattern of heavenly joy. First, everyone in heaven celebrates when Satan gets kicked out. Then, there's another huge celebration when the corrupt worldly system is finally judged. And that brings us to the third and final huge reason to celebrate. The bride is finally ready for the bridegroom. This is the moment everything has been building towards.
So who is this rejoicing crowd? Well, the text points to a very specific and really ancient title. They are the friends of the bridegroom.
You know, in ancient wedding traditions, and honestly, even today, the groom had his close friends, right? Their job was to support him, to help him, and just to share in his joy. They're not actually part of the marriage itself, but their happiness comes from seeing the groom finally united with his bride.
And the absolute best scriptural example of this role is John the Baptist. Remember when people asked him about his relationship with Jesus? He didn't say, "Oh, I'm part of the bride." Nope. He called himself the friend of the bridegroom. He said his joy was complete just by hearing the bridegroom's voice and seeing him get his bride.
So here's the crucial point. You have to see the distinction in their roles. The bride is the church, the whole body of believers being prepared for Christ. But the friends? They're people like the apostles and the prophets. You'll see the Hindi word sevak there, which means servant, and that is their whole job. The apostle Paul, for example, he never saw himself as the bride. He saw his mission as getting the church ready to be presented to Christ. His role was all about service.
I mean, their entire purpose, as it's laid out in the scriptures, is to serve. They're described as gifts given to the church to equip it, to help it mature. Theirs is a life of total sacrifice. Just like Paul wrote, they saw themselves as sheep to be slaughtered for the cause of getting the bride ready for her wedding day.
But hold on, the mystery isn't over yet. We've got the friends who are rejoicing, but the text explicitly talks about a third group who's also there, the invited guests.
Get this. An angel gives a direct command. Write this down. There's a specific blessing for those who are invited to the marriage supper. That one little word, invited, implies a whole other group. Think about it. You don't invite the bride or the groom's best man to the wedding in the same way. They're already part of the main event.
And this whole idea is backed up by Jesus' own teachings. Remember the parable of the wedding banquet? A king sends out invitations for his son's wedding. The story makes it super clear that there's a difference between the wedding party, the son and his bride, and the people who are just called to come to the party as guests.
So let's put all these pieces together. We started with what seemed like a simple wedding scene, and now we've uncovered a much more detailed picture. We've got the main couple, of course. We've got this huge crowd of overjoyed friends, and we have a blessed group of invited guests.
So when you add it all up, it's not just a bride and groom. There are four distinct parties involved in this incredible celestial celebration.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the full wedding party. First, you've got the bridegroom, Jesus. Then you have his bride, the church, all prepared and purified. Then you have the friends of the bridegroom, servants like the apostles and prophets who are just ecstatic that their work is finally complete. And last but not least, you have the invited guests, all those who are blessed just to be able to attend the celebration.
And all of this brings us to one final, really thought-provoking question. In this divine picture of the greatest wedding of all time, the roles are crystal clear. So the question isn't just about who's on the guest list, it's about understanding our own call, our own purpose in this incredible story. Are you the bride, a friend, or a guest? Where do you stand?